Oh, hello, Studio 108 community. Yeah, I'm here with Leah Rachelle, and I talk to Leah a lot because I'm her mother and we talk a lot. But one of the things I love about talking to Leah is how really smart and intuitive and helpful she is. Leah's actually a licensed social worker. She works as a therapist. She's a functional medicine health coach, and she doesn't let me get away with a thing. So when we were talking about magnesium and she's telling me which magnesium works for each different purpose, I have to stop, I have to listen, and I have to be really, really grateful that I have such a great resource. And I want to share this resource with you today. So since I brought up the magnesium, would you please clarify? Because, sometimes I have that tall thing with the calm.
Yeah.
What kind of magnesium is
I don't
that?
claim to be like a doctor to know everything.
Of course. But you gave me good insight.
So from what I know, magnesium first and foremost is best absorbed topically.
Through the skin.
Through the skin. So you can buy magnesium, but I've done that before. And well, I guess to start, we're all deficient in magnesium.
That's what I think I've heard too. Yeah.
We don't get it from our food the way we used to because we're not eating always organic, where the foods that we do eat, just because the soil has changed and due to monocropping, they're not going to be as nutrient dense. We're so far removed from our food sources, we eat processed foods. Did you have anything processed today yet?
No, I have not yet had processed food today.
I don't think, does buying frozen berries count? No.
The berries are not processed.
No. Okay. Really frozen. So anyways, and I believe you also, see, this is what I don't know. I know that working in dirt, like placing your hands in dirt, has been shown to like improve hormones related to depression and anxiety. So I don't know if there's something like that your skin like absorbs
the magnesium.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
okay.
Wait. I'll answer the question.
Thank you.
Okay. So I bought the topical magnesium before, and I just never liked the way it felt on my skin. Plus, also, it's kind of a pain in the ass to like rub something like that all over your body. It just doesn't feel luxurious. It doesn't feel like a beautiful essential oil cream that would be nice to rub. So there's magnesium. So you take Calm, which is a powder. And
I drink it. You put it in, it's like fizzy. And I drink it.
And that's magnesium citrate.
Okay.
So magnesium citrate is great, especially if you have constipation, because it pulls water from your colon. Magnesium glycinate, which is what I take. I take that too. Oh, do you? You double whammy it?
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm taking the Calm then, because I don't have constipation.
Probably don't need
I probably don't need it. So I thought the Calm helped you sleep.
It does, but both should. Okay. But the magnesium glycinate is really good for anxiety and like it's for regulating mood. So I use Pure Encapsulations, and I take about 3 every night.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop buying the Calm.
Yeah.
But the Calm's really easy to find, so sometimes I say to people, get that Calm. But like,
and there might be other forms of magnesium that I'm just not aware of.
Of course.
But I know we're all deficient. It's been a game changer for me. So I'm pretty diligent on that. I just bought more vitamin D. I use that same Pure Encapsulations brand. That brand, so Pure Encapsulations, and then shoot, now I'm forgetting the name. We'll have to link it, but it's Therapeutics. But they're two here. I have to look it up. Sorry. You just entertain the people because I want to
I don't know what could be more entertaining than you tapping away at your phone trying to look something up on the spot.
most of my supplements that I started taking all came through working with physicians at functional medicine. Okay, so
Cleveland Clinic.
Through Cleveland Clinic Functional Medicine. Okay. So another good brand is Integrative Therapeutics. So if you're looking to buy order supplements, because supplements aren't regulated, so there's a lot of just, you can buy something and you don't really know what you're getting.
So the Cleveland Clinic usually uses those two.
They use a myriad of stuff, but Integrative Therapeutics and then Pure Encapsulations. So
okay, so it's the magnesium glycinate that would be for anxiety, tight muscle kind of thing.
That I don't know.
That you don't know.
I just know that one pulls water, and that's the citrate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we know a little bit more. And you know what the best is, to ask your personal doctor, of course, or to have an experience.
Always. I feel like sometimes I listen to podcasts with very successful people, and they always talk about their personal genius. And it's like how like right, but like almost like how embarrassing to say like my personal genius is, but I'm just borrowing the language because I don't know. But
Leah, I think you should just say it. What is your personal genius?
well, because everybody has one. I'm less into the sciencey, but I'm much better at working with people around like behavioral changes and getting into, and that's more of like my, because that's where like the therapy world comes in.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I have like general understanding, and I do like the science.
Yeah.
Like I was just listening to a podcast about the HPA axis.
Yeah, that's really a big conversation.
Right.
We're going to talk about that later. But I think that
we
what
can
you're
talk
saying
about
is,
it now too.
oh, good, because what
Okay.
I want to get to is exactly
Oh,
what you're
God.
saying. Your superpower is more about like the behavioral aspect. And I was just saying, trust your experience when you try these things.
Yeah.
Trust your experience, and that's what we really wanted to pinpoint today. Is
Right.
the behavioral part.
Because we wanted to talk about, oh my gosh, these segues are hysterical because we can just talk
That
in
wasn't the
circles.
segue. That was
I know. So we were going to talk about intuitive eating. The reason I was looking up the HPA axis.
Okay.
So the HPA axis is your hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenals, and how they interact with one another. And it's all about your body's ability to manage stress.
Okay.
Okay.
Say the letters again. H for hypothalamus.
Pituitary.
P for pituitary, and A for adrenal.
Yeah, so hypothalamus and pituitary are like up by your brain stem, and then adrenals, I believe, are like back by your kidneys.
Or on top of your kidneys.
So why is this important? Because intuitive eating, I think most people, well, I shouldn't say that. Many people have an understanding of intuitive eating, which is that you're eating based on mindfulness, right? Like how you feel, right? So you're tuning in. There's so many beautiful parts about intuitive eating, tuning into your hunger and fullness scale, tuning into just like your body, just taking some breaths before you're eating and you know, like what do I want? And I think that I was, it's great, but it doesn't stand alone because if you take someone with a dysregulated endocrine system, which involves the HPA axis, right? If you take someone with like a dysfunctional gut microbiome after years of chronic stress, eating highly processed foods, their endocrine system is jacked. They can't manage stress well. They're going to have mood swings and cravings throughout the day. The little bugs that live in your gut and your intestines are also sending out information, will make you crave sugar. So how do you take a person like that, which I feel like so many of us are, and say just intuitive eat? Like if you told me to intuitive eat when my gut microbiome was at its worst, I would be intuitively eating ice cream and potato chips all day.
100%.
Which is fine because let's, not moralize food, but it's like more complicated than that.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to get you exactly where you want. And almost like you used the word gaslighting too. It's almost setting people up with this expectation that you should intuitively want to eat broccoli when.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, because I come from a little bit of an eating disorder background, so they really kind of shun the idea that any food could be bad food, right? Because
exactly.
if you come from an experience of having an eating disorder, one of the ways that, like the most evidence-backed way that they try to help people with eating disorders is to demoralize food, right? So
exactly.
allowing all foods because it takes away that restrictive component, which is super unhealthy.
And it moves you toward a relationship that's more self-accepting.
Totally. So intuitive eating is beautiful and wonderful, and but I think that sometimes we become so like, no, like intuitive eating is the only way that we put on blinders to some of the like physiological things that are happening in your body that are impacting your cravings, and vice versa, which probably this is more common, is people put on blinders to like toxic diet culture and diet dogma that's like, no, all sugar is evil, keto is the only way. Like honestly, that probably is more common, at least maybe in people who are hearing this, right? Where it's like, no, all carbs are evil.
Fat is evil.
Fat is evil. I don't hear that as much these days, but still, right? So it's this toxic, it's like toxic tribalism, like and then we can't see the other side. So I think that what I'm passionate about is like the intersection of both worlds. Like, how can we
Can
pull
you-
in intuitive eating and yet also have this like understanding of physiology and our endocrine system and our hormones and all of
Like
that.
you want people to see a bigger picture, but can you tell us a little bit more about the HPA axis and how that disrupts your eating?
So, and again, this is maybe a little bit like too sciencey for
Okay.
me, but it's how you
Like give us a
manage.
kindergarten
So
explanation.
it's how you manage stress. It will, and it regulates based on your energy needs throughout the day. So if you're constantly perceiving high stress, your body's going to be releasing cortisol, right? Because you need, your body thinks that you need all this energy to manage the perceived stress. But what happens is, I just know, I hate when you always do this. You set me up for failure because you ask me the science-based questions.
Oh, I don't think it's
Okay,
failure. I think it's super interesting.
So I also know though that
you weave your experience into what you're learning, because there's this magic that happens when we take it out of the textbook and into our life.
right, it
And
makes
so
it more
that's
digestible.
Yeah, and it
So-
makes it more meaningful, and that's why I'm asking you and not somebody else.
Well, so, and I do know that, like, it will impact your cravings and it will impact your mood, and you'll want to reach for more sugar, more carbohydrates. You also, like, if that HPA axis is dysregulated, how could you possibly tune into your body and have any type of mindful experience because you're so like,
Yeah.
right?
Your nervous system is so upregulated.
Right, so it's
Mhm.
it's learning how to calm your nervous system,
Mhm.
which we do with breath work, with meditation, with going for walks in nature, movement too, for
Mhm.
regulating the nervous system. Do you know that physical activity changes your gut microbiome? So you
Yeah.
can do nothing else but just like work out more,
Mhm.
right? Going from sedentary to exercising, right?
And I think that the embodiment too of quote exercise, like we think, like I like that you use the word movement instead of exercise. Like it can be a walk in the woods, it can be jumping jacks. We have a client here who does 200 jumping jacks every morning. I love that. Like what a simple way.
You know what you should do is
Tell
do
me.
the jumping jacks and then take an ice cold shower.
Yes, for your lymphatic system.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is so good.
Do you know what's wild about the cold showers is that I used to have terrible Raynaud's, so like you don't get blood in your fingers and your toes.
It's helped.
It helped, and it's so counterintuitive, like you wouldn't think that.
100%, it helped mine too. I've been 3 years with the cold shower every day. And even it took a long time for my nervous system to not panic and for me to feel like I could really take deep breaths and I could be in the cold water. And I mean, I put oil on first, I rub my skin while I'm in there. I usually will chant a mantra or sing a song or do like some Wim Hof style breathing to just like, calm me down so I can manage it and to bring the temperature inside my body up a little bit. But now when I get in the shower, I'm gonna finish this first.
Okay, sorry.
Now when I get in the shower, like I'm warm showering just to wash my hair or something, and my insides are saying, come on, cold, get this warm, like I wanna feel the cold now. But it took some diligence to get there. So keep it up with the cold showers. My Raynaud's is better too since I've been cold showering.
So sugar, caffeine, alcohol, refined carbohydrates, all impact your HPA axis and tax that stress response.
Really, say it again, sugar,
Sugar,
alcohol,
refined
caffeine.
carbohydrates.
What are refined carbohydrates? Processed food.
Processed food.
Crackers and stuff.
Yeah.
I like crackers.
Yeah. And yet also, going on a strict diet is also going to be stressful.
Yeah.
So some of it is just,
we're just minimizing.
It's harm reduction.
Yeah.
I love a harm reduction approach.
Me too.
Especially in like addiction. And I know the topic of like food addiction is really controversial, but it's just such an intimate relationship, like your relationship with food. And it's such a different type of, if you do have an addictive relationship with food or some sort of like dependent relationship that you feel like is outside of the realms of what's normal, like give yourself grace because you think about that, it's intertwined with every single one of your memories, going to a baseball game with dad when you were 4,
Yeah.
someone dying in your house. Like it's so.
So entwined, and it's entwined with your daily life. Like you don't get a day off. It's an everyday lifestyle conversation. I mean, I feel like there are certain things that bring us into relationship with ourselves, like certain life events. Sometimes I'll say, you're hit with the God stick when something's just like, whoof, and then you can't avoid yourself. You have to really like go in and do work. But there are certain things like food addictions that, that's a life of God stick. That's something that you really, yeah,
Well, I don't
compassion
believe,
for that.
yeah, but I don't believe that, someone's going to, if they struggle with that, that that's a lifelong.
Of course, but
Yeah.
I just mean in the daily of the present. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
of course it can be healed.
Yeah.
What other thoughts do you have on mindful eating?
I could talk about mindful eating forever. Do you ever, like, when you prepare food, use that as like a meditative process? And this is hard. And when people used to say that to me, I would be like, what are they talking about? Because whenever I would cook, I would need to use a recipe. And I had the gift of working in a cafe where I really learned how to cook and just basics, right? But once you master the basics, then this like creative side of you can come out and you can be really relaxed and at ease in the kitchen. And then that's where you're like really just finding gratitude in all of the small things, like this piece of celery that, the farmer who grew this celery, and the way it sizzles when it hits the pan, and the way like the chemical, like the chemicals of a food changes when you heat it up, and when you like pulverize something, it will change like the chemical makeup of the food. So I think bringing mindfulness to the preparation. Yeah.
Surely, and even like before you start a mindfulness, like maybe you wash your hands or maybe you're pulling out the cookbook or whatever, like the intention of what you're making and the purpose, like what you're intending for the purpose to be and what you're intending for the process to be.
And it really is like almost like a radical form of rebellion, because we are fighting against a society that says, no, do it faster, take the shortcut, like there's quicker ways. And what we've found is that actually that's detrimental in the long run, right? And that's not going to be of highest service for you. So sometimes when I have a hard time putting aside the time for self-care or putting aside the time to slow down and prepare like a beautiful meal, if I can reframe it in my mind as like an act of rebellion, for some reason it feels like a little bit more, yeah.
There's like the human psyche needs to feel like what it's doing is worthwhile. And I don't want to special is too like refined sugar kind of thing. Like you want to elevate your intention and elevate your actions and and bring that kind of reverence maybe into your life.
And ways that you can do this too, and like little reminders are, I mean, I have like signs on my door or like on my fridge that say like 3 breaths before eating, right? Like that could change everything. If you deep breathe, if you chew your food, if you change nothing,
could change your digestion.
If you change nothing about what you're eating, but all you do is chew your food, game changer.
Game changer. You should chew your food until it swallows itself.
I know, like you should chew your liquids and drink your solids. That's what someone's grandma used to tell them.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's so many good tidbits here.
So the other thing that is really helpful when you're talking about like making behavioral modifications is just tuning into your future self. So you're yawning, you're like holding back a yawn so hard. Am I that boring?
No, you're not that boring at all. I'm just kind of slumped here, stacked out in the chair. I'm not breathing deeply.
Okay, so having photos on your fridge of someone, like even like a picture of like an elderly person playing with a grandchild, like I want to be healthy when I'm that age and play with a grandkid,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also reminding yourself that there's beating yourself up or talking to yourself negatively or feeling like you failed, that's only going, like, that in and of itself is bad for your body, because that
raises your cortisol.
that
your
raises
back,
your
the
stress
whole
response.
your
That
back
messes your gut microbiome.
Yeah.
So it's not about failing, it's literally about being in the moment and taking one step at a time. And it's not about perfection, which, yeah. It's so much less sexy. Like this isn't like a sexy cell.
Yeah, well, I think that it's a radical rebellious cell.
Because it's not selling a quick fix.
No. It's selling like really the deep look, like an inch wide and a mile deep kind of thing about. You listed out a lot of really good tips. 3 breaths before eating, chew your food, positive long-term visualization, the mindfulness and the intention behind the whole act of preparing to cooking, eating, like that whole ritual of food in your life.
I have such this call in my heart to like learn more about permaculture and like work on a farm or start something here or volunteer here, and just I feel like that also, like, just appreciation for where our food comes from.
Huge.
Yeah. And like I say this to almost everyone I meet, but I truly believe that small scale farming and sustainable farming could change the entire makeup of the planet, like could transform our communities, would transform the environment, like would fix the environmental crisis.
Yeah.
Would change our health.
Yeah.
Would change our mental health.
Right.
And I think it like gives me goosebumps because it seems like such a simple solution, and yet it feels like we're so far from that.
So far away.
But could you imagine? Imagine if people didn't have lawns, if people weren't dumping chemicals on their lawns. Like lawns are such a waste of space. Lawns should just be gardens, right?
So I remember Todd Pasek, Dr. Pasek is a doctor way out on the east side, and he wrote that book, Eat Yourself Super, like about all the superfoods, and it's been quite a while. He's been around for a long time. I think I met him like in 08 or 09, but he had kale and all the greens like growing in the yard. They had no lawn. And he would say, yeah, the neighbors laugh. They're the basic kids out eating the grass.
Like there's no reason that
out of the front yard.
I can't remember the statistics on the amount of people that go to bed hungry every night.
Right.
Like unacceptable. No reason for that.
Right.
Well,
Leah, thank you.
You're welcome. Are you excited to go to Sedona?
I'm very excited to go to Sedona. I have a little bit more packing to do. One of the things I love about what I get to do is that I get to delight people. So it's like kind of like Christmas for me to plan this trip and to plan like where we're going to eat, what activities we're going to do. Like I have so many like secret surprises that I got shipped out a box. Like I'm not going to tell you what's in it because we haven't gone yet, but like I just have so many little delightful treats, and I love that. I love like surprising people and making things special like that. So
you do, and I hope that you've learned and that none of these involve buying cheap plastic or things that nobody needs. Because that used to be your MO.
Well,
a little bit.
We all live on this planet and we're all a part of society, and everyone's learning. I'm learning too. Go easy on me. Yeah, no, everything that I'm talking about in terms, most of the treats are
because
not
what's the saddest
treats.
thing for my mom is that she does get so exciting about delighting people, like as you would say.
Yeah.
And what's so sad is that if you buy Aaron or I anything with plastic in it on Christmas, or like anything that isn't actually like an essential item, not only are we not delighted, we're angry.
Yeah.
Like no
don't
more
buy this.
Don't buy shit.
Right. None of this stuff is shit. Most of the things I'm talking about in Sedona are like really special activities.
Okay, good. Okay. There's no plastic used.
There's no plastic in any of these activities. No plastic has been used in the activities.
Nothing ordered from Amazon.
Nothing was ordered from Amazon. nothing.
Okay.
And it's all, I'm supporting all local people, local farm and
That's
local,
what we like to
family-owned
hear.
businesses.
Yeah.
Even, well, I'll tell you the one thing is that we're getting a photo shoot on Bell Rock so that everybody
That's
can
fine.
get commemorative photos.
No, there's nothing
And
wrong
I
with
didn't
that.
even hire like a big, I found somebody who knew somebody who was just getting started so that we can give somebody a nice
Yeah,
start.
that's beautiful.
Because it's in the middle of the day.
Imagine
It's a
if
small
you were
job.
taking the photos, that would be disastrous.
And you always take such good photos. Do you remember the ones you took? I've been using them in the emails. The ones you took when we were there in November with Erin, and on Bell Rock, how there's all those light rainbow that you caught, all the light streams and the sparkles and the photos. Those are incredible photos. So I hope she can do something really lovely like that. And then everybody will get commemorative photos professionally taken on Bell Rock.
I love having photos from trips. I hate being on trips though and like the whole time taking pictures.
Exactly, which is why I thought a photographer would be great, because then we could just like look around and actually see the scenery
and relax
and not be using the phone the whole time.
There's something about the dry air there, like the way it smells in Sedona.
It's incredible.
It just has a smell to it.
I know. I actually was waking up.
I mean, Cleveland also has a smell.
This is true, but it's not like Sedona. Different smells. So we're just only going to talk about Sedona.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it on the high side. And actually, the crispness in the air and the freshness in the air is like indescribable. And, there's a lot of iron in the red rock.
Yeah.
So, I guess it makes sense. I don't know the science of it. I only know my experience. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Leah.
Yeah.
You're a rock star. Thanks for listening, you guys. So what are we putting down in the comments? We'll put your contact information.
You can put a link for Pure Encapsulations and Integrative Therapeutic if people want to order supplements.
Fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Bye.
Are you ready to like, comment, share, subscribe? Thanks. Namaste.
Oh gosh.